YouTube, welcome back to Rockford Ordnance. We have branched out immensely into a lot of ARs, different AR builds, Garands, all kinds of stuff. Then you watch the news and you see things going on in the world and you get to thinking, and the age-old question comes up. If you had to get and go real quick, 5 minutes you're out of there, what rifle would you grab? So that's the question we're going to try and answer today. Which one would I grab? Come on along, it's going to be fun. So I guess first and foremost, we've got to kind of investigate what would happen. You know, that we'd have to, first of all, you know, get out of Dodge that quick. What type of event would happen? And without going too far down that rabbit hole, you know, it could be anything. And, you know, without wearing a tinfoil hat, let's just say I think things that might cause that would probably end up being something more of maybe a natural disaster, something along those lines. Could be civil unrest, who knows, you know, stock market crashes, terrorist attacks, pandemics. Whatever the case may be, I guess we'd have to look at what's really going to be, and are we actually, you know, bugging out? Are we headed for another location? Do we not have a place to really go to? Or are we kind of bugging in? That's the big question, because my choice is going to change a little bit. But before we get into all that, let's take a look at each of these rifles, look at the pros and cons, and go from there. All right, so first up is the AR-15. And as we know with any modern day sporting rifle, you can get into different configurations. And I'll get into that a little bit because frankly I think it matters depending on what we're going to be doing or the situation. But let's just talk about the base platform right now. This is America's rifle, right? Or maybe I should say this is America's rifle, right? The old M4. So something kind of standard, right? Military issue. It's got a couple little upgrades, but basically this is an American service rifle. As far as reliability goes, I've got and had a ton of ARs over the years, and frankly really have not had any reliability issues to speak of. I've bought finished rifles, I've built rifles, I've accessorized them differently, I've got pistols, all of that stuff, and when it comes to any of them, have not had zero reliability issues. I could probably count on one hand how many misfeeds or failures to feed or failures to eject I've had over the years. It just doesn't seem to happen. Maybe I've got quality rifles, maybe, I don't know, but doesn't seem to be an issue. Let's talk about weight on this rifle. Definitely lighter than just about any AK out there. That's a plus if we are going to be humping this stuff, right? If we're going to be carrying it. Maybe we're in a vehicle it doesn't matter too much. Maybe we're bugging in and weight doesn't matter at all. Let's talk about ammo. Big difference between ammo between the AK and the AR-15, right? Here's your AK ammo, 30 caliber. Here's your AR ammo, 22 caliber, right? Roughly the same length, pretty close. Obviously this is a little larger round, a little heavier. Weight again comes into play here. 30 round mag of this gonna weigh more than 30 rounds of the 5.56 or 223. You know, comparing the two, they're pretty darn close. Let's face it, these rifles are pretty much meant for combat between 25 yards and 600 yards. And 600 is probably a stretch, right? I'm gonna say, let's say 100 to 500 or 400, somewhere in there. And both will do their jobs anywhere in between there. Let's talk about accuracy. Your average service rifle, mil spec, is going to shoot somewhere between 2 and 4 MOA out of an M4, or pretty much any, standard run-of-the-mill AR. Sure, there's some precision rifle builds and things like that, but we're talking your average AR here. So accuracy, pretty good. Some might be better, some worse, but they're all right in there, right? Magazines are a little bit smaller than an AK mag. Let's take a look. I think I've got just a Bakelite standing here, but a little bit shorter. Same width, but with the ammo loaded in, obviously this is going to weigh less and a little bit more compact because of the smaller round. So there's that. Maybe we can carry more ammo. Maybe if we're on the road, that works out better. What else can we talk about here? Familiarity. Depending on what you're familiar with, if you do a lot more shooting with an AR versus an AK or vice versa, you might just be more comfortable with one platform or the other. Accessorizing these things. Let's talk about that. Both can have all kinds of things done to them. We can put forends, we can put different optics, different stocks to fit different situations. So they're pretty close there. The AK might be a hair behind there, but today there's so much stuff it really doesn't matter. Suppressibility, kind of equal there too. Not a big difference. Last but not least, let's talk about commonality of ammunition. We're in the United States. This is our military service rifle. Obviously, there's probably going to be a much more likely chance that there's a lot more 223 or 556 ammo laying around versus that of the AK 7.62 by 39. So that being said, if you don't have a big stockpile of ammo, or you're running out with only what you can carry and maybe you're going to have to scrounge more or come up with some more, this may be a better choice. It's pretty close so far, isn't it, guys? Let's talk about the AK a little more. So I just kind of grabbed what I had laying around, and my Yugo was out. I was messing with it. This was the first AK I bought, and I love it. Happens to be an underfolder, and we'll get more into maybe different variants in both guns and talk about how those might suit us better. So we talked about reliability on the AR-15. Reliability on the AK, frankly, I think you're right there. I may have had a few more instances when buying a new AK or building a new AK where had some issues maybe with failure to feed or eject or a mag issue or something along those lines. But for the most part, they just run and run. Those few issues that I may have had were usually teething, let's say. I'd call it teething, where frankly it was something stupid either from an American importer or something like that. But any of your ComBlock built weapons, really no issues. You may have some guys say, well, you got trunnion issues with AKs. No, you really don't. You may on an American built gun where you have cast trunnions or something, sure. But again, you go back to a good import rifle, that's not even a question. Don't even worry about it. Let's talk about rivets. Some guys will say, well, I can just bolt together an AR and, it'll be fine. But on an AK, what if the rivets go bad or it comes apart? Well, I'm here to tell you of the tons and tons of AKs I have shot, continue to shoot, and put many thousands of rounds through. I have yet to see any problem with rivets on anything. I would say when we're talking about reliability in either platform, I would put a lot of emphasis on the fire control group. I think that's where some of the more delicate parts may be, springs and such that may wear out. Maybe we're talking, this isn't a weekend bug out, things get better. Maybe things stay bad for a really long period of time, a couple of years, 2 years, 10 years. What if they never get better and you have to rely on that one rifle you bugged out with? In that case, I'm going to give the win to the AK. When we look at an AK fire control group, the braided springs versus the regular springs on an AR, I'm going to say these braided springs are going to last a whole lot longer. Less moving parts, we don't have a buffer system, things like that. Very simple, very robust, nothing really to worry about. AR has a plus in my book that, let's say something did go wrong. Let's say you had a bolt failure, something cracked, and you had to replace a bolt. Well, that'd be a little harder on an AK because of headspace issues. You may have to unpin the barrel, adjust the headspace, and pin it again, or go through several bolts till you found one that was in spec for that particular rifle. So it could be tough on something like that. And an AR, you could just grab another mil-spec bolt carrier, what have you, and toss it in there, Not a big deal. Overall, as far as robust, toss it off a hilltop, I'm gonna probably give it to the AK. AKs are my favorite weapon, but guys, don't get me wrong. I love ARs too. I really like them, and I wouldn't be afraid to get out of town with one of those either. I think it's a pretty close call. I think if I was bugging in and I had to defend my home, my first go-to would be the AK. The stopping power, the hard hitting of a .30 caliber round in my book is just the better way to go. I can hit out to 500 yards, no problem, just as easy with both. I just feel more comfortable with the AK. So I think for defending my home, bugging in, this would be my first line of defense. But I'd also have an AR there that, then if I had to hit the road, I think I'd take the AR. Once I'm out of ammo, out of my stash, what have you, or I have to leave my home and go on the road or make it to another place, I'm going to switch over to the AR. That's just my thoughts, because I can, scrounge up some ammo along the way, much easier to find than 7.62. So that's my take kind of on the much talked about issue of, gotta get and go, what are you gonna grab? We can talk about variants a little bit when it comes to that. I thought, and this is kind of what brought this whole subject up with me, was pulling out this underfolder, and we were talking just how nice and compact it is, and easy to transport and whatnot. When this thing's folded down and the mag is out of it, that's a small package, guys. Think about it. That's a really small package. Backpack, under a coat, in a trunk, in a truck. Really, really nice package. I can tell you on this Yugo with iron sights, I can hit out to 200 yards, no problem. Just one after the other, ping, 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 on an 18-inch plate. No problem whatsoever. Really nice to have an underfolder, I think, if you were on the road or you had to kind of do the gray man thing and maybe carry a backpack and hide this away. that kind of thing if you weren't going to be carrying out in the open. But that being said, we can do the same kind of thing with the AR. Now you guys have seen this. This is my AR pistol build, Aero Precision. And we've got the adjustable pistol brace on here. Now that's a pretty small package too. So we could do the same thing. Backpack, you know, hidden if you had to get through somewhere, maybe a checkpoint or something like that. So there you go. You've got small options there too. Let's say you live out west or you're going into some open areas. You know, you could grab something with a scope like this. More of a DMR style. You guys haven't seen this yet finished. We're still doing a lot of testing on this and shooting and having a blast with it. It really came out nice. 20-inch barrel, and we've got a 2.5 by 10 primary arm scope on here. So at 2.5, you can use it kind of in a CQB roll almost. It's like running a 3 by prism scope. I do that all the time on my NPAP, and with the 3 by you can do CQB and so even shoot 2 eyes open with it. So at 2.5, you know, you could use it up close. It's not ideal, but then with the 10 power, you can really reach out with this. So if you're in a more open area, this may be a way to go. And kind of versatile too, because I think in a situation like this, we're going to be looking for versatility. Nothing wrong with a standard M4 configuration. You know, we can take off the carry handle and put an optic on there, a red dot, a prism scope, an ACOG, what have you, so you can change that up too and it'd be just fine. We can go to something like this. Now this, I would not want to carry on a long hike. This is a Bulgarian SLR 107 FR it's a Krebs rifle. Krebs did it. And then I kind of added all these Initco furniture to do my take on an Alpha clone. I would not want to hump this rifle, that's for sure. It weighs a ton. With this optic and everything, it is a heavy, heavy rifle. But this is probably the most versatile AK I own. I've got a primary arms 1x6 on here, and of course you can use it in a CQB situation or crank it up and head on out to 500-600 yards with it. It's just a fabulous gun for all around use. The only big drawback to this thing is the weight of the whole package. Now, I could lighten that up immensely by going back to a regular handguard, go to a regular polymer stock, and lighten up the optic by putting a red dot on there or something. So, you know, this scope probably weighs 2 pounds with the mount and everything. It's heavy. But we could certainly lighten it up. That makes a huge difference just taking that optic off of there. So there's a lot of different options. I would just think versatility and think about what you're doing with it end game, and think about what's going to last you. What is going to last the longest, need the minimum amount of repairs, have the least things go wrong with it. We didn't touch on AK accuracy, and I want to touch on that real quick because in kind of researching a few things for this video, it's still out there, guys. It's still out there. All these guys say, well, the AK isn't as accurate. Oh my God, stop it already. Just stop it. These things are 2 to 4 MOA all day long. Some a little better, some a hair worse, but they are right there with the M4 platform. Right there, no difference. You cannot tell me these are not as accurate. That's just a crock of crap. Done hearing it, stop. I don't think you can go wrong either way. You just got to know what the situation is and take into account where you're going, what you're doing, and ammo availability. That's what it comes down to. Make your choice. Nobody's going to knock you either way, and whatever you're more comfortable with is going to work. They're both great choices. So that's what I got for you today. I hope it provoked a little thought, and hopefully you think a little bit more about, hey, what would I grab if I had to go? God knows what can happen. You know, tomorrow a asteroid could hit, a terrorist attack could happen, civil war could, who knows, who knows, who knows, who knows. It's those things we don't know that we have to plan for. So at least give it some thought, and you're a step ahead of the next guy, and go from there. So hope you like the video. We'll be bringing you a whole lot more. We've got a cool review coming out on that DMR rifle, so stay tuned for that. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out.